Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is Bridget Byron Coons, and she is going to talk to us about My Own Seasons, a book that she has written, and I think that you are going to be really excited because we're talking about the various things that people go through, your struggles, your triumphs, your fears, your doubts, your denials about things, just all of the emotions that we go through. But this particular book isn't just a book. It is a collection of poems. And you guys know that I love it when people are able to express themselves either in art or with words. So I think we are in for a treat today. Now, I'm looking at this bio, and Bridget's bio is awesome. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to go through it with her and say, hey, tell me a little bit more about this, because I think you guys are going to be interested. So let's pull the mic up. Good morning, Bridget. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, Dr. Angela. I want to thank you, too, very much for this opportunity to interview with you today on Spark.
Thank you. I love it. Now, you are creative director at Studio Magenta, and you're located in Mountain View, California. Woohoo! Got to give a little shout out for California, right?
Yes, a big one.
I love it. Now, you have done so much. I'm looking at your bio, and it's like the Detroit Society of Arts and Crafts, the Cranebrook Academy of Art, let's see, what else here? You have been a member of, looks like, the Society of Illustrators of Los Angeles, the American Advertising Federation.
Yes.
On, and the list just continues. Tell me about all of these wonderful things that you have done.
Well, I'd be glad to, Dr. Angela. I'm a fine artist. I have a fine art background, actually, by education. I did go to the Detroit Art School for Society of Arts and Crafts. My major was painting as a fine artist. From there and all along, I have always been journaling and writing. It helps me, I guess, recycle or just look at my thoughts and hear myself. And I often write about my painting as well. So I worked as a commercial artist. I picked up the airbrush probably 40 years ago. Not giving away my age, but about 40 years ago, I picked up the airbrush. A patron wanted me to paint something in airbrush. So I went from oils on canvas, quite traditionally, which was my education. I picked up that airbrush and everything started happening. I worked with acrylics. I really liked it. The patron was ecstatic about the piece. And I continued. And gradually I started getting commercial clients. People started calling me, advertising agencies. They saw my self-promotion work. And I started working as a commercial artist, although I have a fine art background. It was fine with me. I was using the airbrush. I love to paint. I had assignments every day. And I raised a family with that. My first marriage, I just painted for, probably 14 years in Palo Alto, California at a commercial studio, and it was wonderful. I really loved it. It gave me a great foundation for promoting my fine art.
The people that I know that are artists, there is a for lack of a better word, there's just a magic when you guys are in studio and it is you, your canvas, and your medium, and you are able to just have free expression for a particular project. You see the genius come out, and you stand there and go, yep, this is exactly what you were born to do. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think I kind of hear that in how you're explaining it to us now.
Ah, very good. It is. There's nothing like it for me. I've been painting since I were a tweenie. And I drew a lot before that and did watercolors and everything. But Much to my parents' dismay, I took over the bedroom and turned it into a painting studio, and then had to move out before I was out of high school to get a studio. And I was already working when I was in high school. I was selling my work and in shows and really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of your works and all that you do, you have written a book of poems, a collection of poems, and it's entitled My Own Season. You have painted the illustrations as well, if I understand correctly. Can you describe how did that feel to be able to say, this book is an expression of who I am completely in voice and in art?
It's exhilarating, Dr. Angela. When I put the two together, there's a certain synergy for myself. I've often said I paint with words and I write with paint. There's just a strong bond between the two. I love to read. I like to have conversations with other artists, just for the articulation and the clarity, to get your ideas out there verbally. I think it's very important for professional artists. So as my writing grew and grew, I have a backlog. I have so many paintings I've done that aren't out showing right now, and I just wanted to use work that even I produced 25 years ago. They're paintings that had never been, they were copyrighted, but they had never been published for the most part. So I took 24 of those pieces. I didn't paint those specifically for the book, but I found that there it was. I took one of the pieces, like My Own Seasons, the poem My Own Seasons, and the Equation of Time, a painting that I'd done, shown in Geneva, and it just had no place. So I put it on the cover, and it just works so perfectly for seasons changing and my own seasons within changing. It's a perfect example of it. And I didn't have to sit down and say, okay, now I'm going to do an illustration for this poem, which is rather stiff. I just thought, I already have 30 years of work here. Let's use the best of it and get it out there.
Right.
So
right.
that's how that came about.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And why not use your own artwork? Why not use your own expression of how you were feeling in a particular moment, especially the fact that you're talking about seasons. As a breast cancer survivor, I can understand that we have, so many various seasons, and how we look at what's going on in our world at a particular time. What was I going through? What colors would I use, or how does that make me feel? As a therapist, that's one of the things that I try to help people work through, and especially if they're an artist of any form, is express yourself in a particular way according to how you're feeling that day. Are you a red or a blue? Are you a yellow or a green? Are you jazz or rock and roll? Are you country or blues?
Yes.
And use the arts. Yes.
Yep. Well, just what you said, how am I feeling this day? I went from illustration, which was rather premeditated, pre-composed, and I worked with art directors through agencies. Everything was all planned out. And I thrived on that, but I also needed, which I had going on in the background in my studio, were my own paintings. And I persisted with those. And just continued as a fine artist no matter what else I had to do. So, yes, back to self-empowerment through the creative arts. That's what my work is about. I have self-empowered myself. I know what you've gone through. I've read a little bit of your background too, Dr. Angela, and I feel for probably the strife and pain you had to go through with that. I suffer severe artistic melancholia from time to time, and I just, I was going through a rough time, and I'd written this book, and I hadn't published it, and I said, just publish it. If you don't do anything else for the rest of your career, get that book out. And I pushed the button. And now, as you said, I have that as a documentation. I have it as a documentation for that time. And with the pains I went through, the challenges socially as well as emotionally, and within my family, coming out to live as the opposite sex. It's a dramatic change, and our society's feeling it now too. But
and you never know how your expression will help someone else with their time. Exactly. You
That's
just
what I'm.
Never know.
You don't. I had hoped that. I hoped that the readers would see the analogy in a sense, the comparison. Well, this, here is this artist and writer going through this in this mode in transition, which a lot of people are going through in this world right now. And this is how they dealt with it. They kept their faith, for one. I've kept my faith, Angela. That's it. That's the driving motive here. My faith in God, my faith in myself, my faith in my craft, my faith in life. Life is good. It's just living that's so difficult sometimes.
Right, life is good. It's good.
If we can just look through that, and see the big picture.
That is definitely a tweetable moment. If you don't tweet it, I know that I am. I love it. I love it. Now, we have about 3 minutes left, and I want to ask you a question about kind of growing up. I love to give our listeners a feel of, who they're listening to before we really jump, 2 feet into your work. And that is, you were born in Michigan. You attended the art school for the Art School Society of Arts and Crafts and the College of Creative Studies in Detroit. What was it like growing up in the 60s? During a time where things were very kind of industrial in their environment in Detroit, and you are being an artist, was it difficult with the juxtaposition of that, or were you still able to kind of be fluid in your expression as an artist?
No, I had a lot of roadblocks. I did have really a wonderful childhood. My mom remarried after my dad passed away, and my stepfather's wonderful. He just took care of us so well. And we became like the Brady Bunch. She had 2 sons, and my mom had 2 of us. And we got together, and it was, we were middle class, and my dad did very well and worked us up to upper middle class. So I was well taken care of. Everything was okay. So I had a good childhood, but I started to run into problems. I didn't know the word transgender, but I knew there was something different. I had 3 brothers. They were Boy Scouts. They worked for GM. They're truckers. And here I am, this artist that's taken their bedroom over to be a studio and is driving their parents crazy because he's up all night painting. I didn't really grasp the challenges I was up against, to tell you the truth. I just knew it was. I gained a lot from being industrious, I'll say. It was all around me, especially with my family. They were very competitive, like I said, Boy Scouts. It was who could catch the most fish, who could, do all this especially male things. And I did it, but there was something else, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. So it left me with lots of blanks as I was growing up. But I continued painting, like I said, since I was a tweenie. I just kept doing my art, and I knew there was something there that was good. And I kept thinking, well, it's my art. It's my art. And I realized, it's me. Yeah, I can express through my art, but I'm the artist. I'm the one that gets the attention ultimately. I'm the one that's famous. My paintings are an artifact. My writing's an artifact, my actual experience. So these things I've had to grow into. I've left that industrial environment. I came to California when I was 20, and looking for a better art environment. And boy, I found it. Girl, I found it, and I'm very happy here.
Yeah. And Mountain View.
But I had to get out of Detroit.
Yeah, I can understand that. And let me tell you, a little sunshine in Mountain View is a great place to be. So I can understand. I'm in Long Beach, so I can definitely understand that there's a beauty of California. Not that we're knocking any of the other places, but there's a beauty of SoCal that just it can calm one's soul. So I definitely understand. Well, it is time for us to go to break, Bridget, and I want to make sure that everyone is able to not only pick up a copy of your book, but they're able to follow you online. How should they do that?
The best way is just to search my name, whatever search engine you use. I don't want to give anybody any more advertising than they already have. But my name, Bridget, Bridget Byron Coons, and I've got pages and pages. I'm well embedded in search engines. So other examples of my paintings and my book.
Gotcha. Alrighty, listeners, you know where you can visit. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. I'm really excited to have Bridget Byron Coons as my guest today, and she has written a book of poems. There's a collection of 24 poems here. The name of the book, My Own Seasons. You can pick it up where books are sold. Speaking of the book, My Own Seasons, like we said, it's a collection of poems that you wrote during the first 2 years, I believe, of your transitioning. Can you tell us a little bit more about what made you decide that I need to write about this, not just maybe talk with a best friend or with a family member, but I need to write and I need to get all of this out, as well as what made you decide there needs to be some illustrations that go along with this. It shouldn't just be a book of all words.
I have always felt that when I read a book, since I'm a painter too, I like visuals. I felt that I wanted an illustration on each poem, and not just 5 pages in that kind of summed it all up, or it was just a fragment of a little scene. That's a good way to go. But I wanted to make a really strong statement within 24 poems. And the illustration, which I am confident about those images, because they've been with me for a long time. As I said, they've been copyrighted, and I've had them in my archives. I did not do the illustration specifically for each poem. I didn't have any idea when I was doing the painting that there would be a poem that I'd attach to it. But it was a kind of a free association that came around, and it felt really good to actually utilize those illustrations and give them some life through another art form, writing. And between the two, they tell the story, the pictures and the words. And even if the picture might not look like it really relates to transitioning and coming out, when you look a second time, there's a portrait. One of them is a portrait of a girl that I did, and she's holding a masquerade mask, and she's moved it away from her face, and it's titled something about Selena. Well, there's something about me as well that I couldn't quite grasp until I finally just turned myself and faced me. So what is this? And I determined many things, actually, but 2 important things. One, I'm a painter, and I need to do this full time for the rest of my life because I love it more than anything. And my writing, I needed to incorporate the 2 together. So that's what I did. That's what I did.
I love how you were able to make the declaration of, this is who I am. I'm a painter. Almost just telling everyone else that if you can't deal with it, it's your problem, not mine. Because I know exactly what I have been put on this earth to do, and that is to be a painter. And I have to applaud you on that, because so many people are trying to walk the career path that their parents wanted for them, or they're trying to walk the path that they feel is going to have the highest financial reward, and they're miserable in what they're doing, and it really reflects in their life. Yeah.
Yeah, often so. So they're not facing their truth necessarily. Maybe I'm just saying that off the top, but it was for me. It was I needed to really face myself, and I realized that hiding was very unhealthy. I thought it was like being like protecting my family. I was raised, family's number one. Put yourself aside, young man, my dad would say. Take care of those family. Take care of that family number one. So I've done that through 2 marriages. Miserable. Only my art was what would help me in hiding the fact that I felt that I was female inside. I know it sounds funny, even hearing my voice, but I knew that I finally realized that's what it was, and it just clicked. Then I was opening up. Then I started letting go. Then I started painting things that I felt, not necessarily illustrations that I was copying or reproducing or composing. But I put up a canvas, a 4x4-foot canvas one day, and said, that's it. No more pictures. I'm just going to let the paint. And I just started throwing it around. Throwing the paint around. My work changed dramatically from that point on. It's been 5 years now. I've worked so differently from commercial illustration. So, and again, the writing helped describe it. People would read my poems and go, wow, Bridget, you got to publish this. This describes what, I'm going through. And now I see, what your struggle is as an artist. And now, well, in Detroit was, an automotive industry. What now is a tech industry, So these are the challenges I faced. And I've talked about melancholia. It's a dramatic thing to change your orientation. And you think it's hard, to be transgender in this tech society. You try being an artist, a traditional artist. I mean, I work digitally. I worked for all Fortune 500s as a contractor for 20 years. Apple's home base for me. I loved working there. It taught me Photoshop. It taught me HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. But, it's anonymous. I helped build that internet, but I'm retired from that. And, it's traditional, physical, tactile work that I need to do now. Cyberspace is fine. No criticism at all. It saves lives. That's what it's for.
Right.
It's not toys. The Greeks learned from that. Their technology turned into toys, and the Romans defeated them. So let's be careful.
So it sounds like you really enjoy having your fingers, having the paint on your fingers. You want to feel your painting as much as you want to create it.
Yeah, you feel it. The digital is good. I still pre-composite in Photoshop. It's a brilliant application. I love it. Thank you, Adobe.
Right.
I'm giving a commercial plug.
Right, we'll give them a little bit of a shout out.
Yeah.
I love it.
But there's nothing like putting up that bare canvas, Dr. Angela, and how do I feel today? Yellow, and just go crazy on it.
Right, and
you get it out.
Go about it. I love it.
Yep.
Well, speaking of your paintings, as you are becoming this internationally known artist for your paintings, as well as recent publications and the success of your book, My Own Season, I believe that's available on Abbott Press. If I'm not wrong on that.
Yes. Yes.
How has your life changed as you've grown in popularity? I mean, I know now people are able to recognize you for not just one platform. Hey, that's the guy who, created the artwork that I have. But, hey, there's the guy who wrote the book I was telling you about. How has your life changed now that you're able to be internationally recognized?
Wonderfully. You know, I'll tell you, Dr. Angela, I've worked on this again since I was a teenager. I just always wanted to become internationally well-known as a painter. And it's not vainglory necessarily. That's kind of enjoyable, you know, but some of that attention is good. But it's a tool for me. You know, it's a tool. I really appreciate any attention I get. People call, or they want me to sign their book, or they want to buy art, or show me. That's very gratifying, of course. But my life has just gotten better. What I'm trying to say is it's the same. I still work on my art every day. I have since I was a teenager, no matter what. And it's enhanced, you know. Showing my art and writing books, it's just second nature for me. I don't sit down and decide I'm going to write a book. I just keep writing, and the poems collect, and then every few years I send them out to the publisher. But it's what am I trying to say? It's very good right now. And just the fact that you and I are talking is, to me, a wonderful sign. You know, you invited me to come on your show, and I thought, you know, that'd be really good. That'd be really good, because I do have something I want to say. And it's, gosh, if you're lost, find your self-empowerment through the creative arts. Even if you can't paint, pick up a pencil and just start scribbling. I've seen so many people that didn't even paint before, and they said, Bridget, you know, how do you do this? I mean, I give lessons. I teach airbrush. I have students come to my studio, and I have a student in tonight. And it's so exciting to watch them, you know, learn a tool and start to see, like, wow, I can do this.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm so glad that you have just given someone permission to do that was thinking about it, you know, and they were looking for that one thing that is confirmation for them, and I think that was it. There is a famous person, I guess you could say, without naming any names, that used to be a president of the U.S., that found out in his retirement, I'll say, that, hey, I like painting. And when I hear him talk about it, it was kind of this epiphany of, I thought I might like it, but I found out that I love it. Wow, this is awesome. And it is amazing how we are able to, I think, express ourselves differently with the various art forms that are available to us. And why not? Like you said, pick up a pencil and just scribble. Who knows what's going to come out? Now, who are some of your, even though I know that you are an author, I do like to ask the question of, who's your favorite author? Or do you have anyone, or maybe there's a few people that you found that you like their style, and you've kind of, you write in that style as well, or it inspires you to write better in your own style?
All right. I have 5, and I'll just 5 authors. I love it. Jules Verne, his imagination. I mean, when you read, you know, Mysterious Island, it's incredible to think, you know, a person thought of all this and wrote it out. How amazing. So I like Verne. Margaret Atwood is just incredible. I've learned so much from her writing, her punctuation and her use of metaphor is astounding. I don't think half the people get what she's saying, but she's very good with punctuation, and she's taught me, you know, how to use punctuation marks for expression, not the words, but the timing and the cadence and the punctuation. Richard Brautigan is also a very good one. His In Watermelon Sugar, I just love that work. And Edgar Allan Poe. You know, I am a very positive person. I love life. I truly do. The macabre can slip in. I think in empowerment we need to accept ourselves as a whole. I used to reject in myself all the hard things I had to go through or all the pain. I think, God, that's not me. That's not me. It is. We have to go through these things. Here we are. We wouldn't know pleasure if we didn't know pain. Hot and cold, light, dark.
I agree with you on that one. Well, Bridget, it is time for us to go to a break, and I want to make sure that if they didn't catch the first half, then they are able to figure out where do they go to get a copy of your book, and how do they follow you online?
Mm-hmm. Okay, they can get a copy of my book at Amazon. Just search My Own Seasons.
Right.
Barnes & Noble.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in electronic form as well.
Alrighty, listeners, you know that you can go where books are sold to pick up a copy of My Own Seasons. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for our Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is Bridget Byron Coons, and she has written the book My Own Seasons. And we're talking about so much today. We're talking about fear, doubt, about denials, struggles, and triumphs. And who hasn't gone through a little bit of something in their lifetime? As the quote says, if you haven't been through anything, keep living, because you will definitely find some bumps along the way. So, Bridget, I want to ask you this. What motivates you the most to continue working as an artist? And is there a difference between what motivates you as a painter and what motivates you as an author?
Mm-hmm. The motivation is the same. Mm-hmm. I want to share my work. I want to share it. I want to contribute to the arts in this world. I want to be a part of it. And if I write and when I paint, these things this happens for me as long as I keep doing it. And that's the challenge. We all have life stuff that gets in the way every day, errands and everything. But if I can come through and paint and write, I'll be happy.
Now, I usually give any author an opportunity, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, to share a bit of their work if they want to. Now, of course, the listeners, you guys know, we're not going to share the whole book. You need to purchase it. But if you like, Bridget, if you want to share a bit of your work, you're welcome to.
Okay, Dr. Angela, thank you so much for this opportunity. As I said, I really enjoy sharing it. I will read from My Own Seasons the title piece, the title poem, titled My Own Seasons. I have my own seasons, my own storms to survive, my own spring to celebrate the beauty of my epicene soul. I have my own revolution to battle, my own golden manifesto to proclaim, my own position from which to express the heartfelt truth of my shaded gender. I have my own stories to share, my own errant legend to live. Even if no one is listening, my own seasons change. Thank you.
Oh. Very nice.
So like
that people the listeners are thinking, you know what? I have my own seasons too. And I love how everyone, I think, can relate from the point of, is there something that you have gone through that you needed to go through that in order to be your best self, in order to get to a new sense of freedom and revelation and just an understanding of who you are in that moment. and to be true. You know, we're one person in our 20s, we're a different person in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s. You know, we're gonna go through these transitions, and so yeah, I think that people should be able to definitely relate to that.
Yep.
That was beautiful.
Relate.
That was
yes,
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you have anything else you would like to share, or another point that you maybe like to explain or give some background to?
Sure, I'll do another one from my own seasons.
Sure.
And then we'll take it from there. This poem is titled Millennia. Millennia. Looking through the lucid blue-green glass of my mind, I can see clearly through the endless equations of time, and know by instinct my millennium has come at last. Every moment, quiet thought, spoken word, soft breath, precious treasures. Yep.
I like how you use color in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I love that. I have a certain understanding or an appreciation. I know not everyone does, but for color therapy, and there's a happiness in certain colors. There's a depth in other colors. So I love that you chose those colors.
Yes, thank you. Your colors are very important. Lastly, Dr. Angela, I'd like to read, I have from my next book that's coming out.
Oh, okay.
It's titled Beginning's End and will also be published with Abbott Press.
Absolutely.
Self-publishing, and I found that self-publishing was really good for me as an artist. I've approached many big companies, big publishers. There are many challenges there, but I found self-publishing was good. I worked directly with Abbott Press. I set it up like I want. I designed the book, and it's very, very good, this one. So this poem is titled Gift. Let me be with the ones whose eyes are filled with light, that brightly shine with the love of life, whose gentle words speak in quiet truth, the knowledge that all of this is real. Let me be with the ones whose minds are filled with peace, that faithfully work for the good of all, whose dreams radiate with divine grace, and the wisdom that all of this is good. Then, let me be with the ones whose hearts are filled with love. Let me be happy. Thank you.
Let me be with the ones whose hearts are filled with love. I love that. I think that we need a little bit more love in this world, for sure.
We do.
I am a, glass half full. Let's see the silver lining. What is the positive, sparkle that we can get out of any given situation? And I have to say that I applaud that line. Yes, we should definitely be around those who want to share more love in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're very welcome, Doctor.
I love it. Now, if you don't mind, and since we are talking about your poetry now a little bit more than your paintings, I love to ask artists. I like to ask authors about their process, about how they write and where do they write and all that good stuff. We have so many people that are always interested in, I want to be a writer, and how did you come about doing that? So if you don't mind, I want to just ask some random questions, if you will, about how you write. So when you were still in the process of getting everything down on paper, be it that you were typing or writing, did you find that you needed a certain environment, like did you need it to be quiet, or did you want to go to Starbucks? What was the best way for you to get your ideas out of your head?
Yeah. Well, with the second book, one of the best poems in it I wrote on my lunch break when I was contracting at Apple. Mm-hmm. I took an extra 15 minutes on that lunch break. But it was the day my wife left me. So that was hard. And you have to go to work. You have to get up and go to work. Or just roll over. But I did that poem in the cafeteria. I prefer to be home quietly. I write on my dining room table. I call it my study, but I especially write in the morning there. And I keep a journal. I date it in the day. It's a Wednesday, and whatever pops in my head, and then I let it grow from that. But I don't write prose. I don't have volumes and volumes of novels. I love poetry.
Okay. Right. I can understand that. Now, when you were a younger person, and this could be at any particular age. Let's say you're older than 5, but you are younger than 30. Did you ever have a moment where you thought, I think I'm going to be a writer? Like, this is going to be something that I do in my life for sure.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. I decided in 2012, though, when I saw my notebooks piling up, and I had this collection, my own season's 24 poems. I had 3 times that amount, behind it. I just, got down to the ones that were really, really important, and that I found illustration work that I had done that fit. So I came up with 24.
Most definitely. I can understand that. And thank you for being honest. There's someone that's like, oh, thank God he said no, because I wanted to write when I was 20 either. And here I am, 42 or something, and I'm thinking about writing this book. So thank you for being honest. My next question for you is about a literary success. Everyone has their understanding of what it means to be successful. So what does it mean to you to be successful as an author, not as an artist, not with your paintings, but just when it comes to your writing?
Success for me, which I'm starting to see, and thank you for this interview again. This isn't a casual moment for me. I understand who I'm addressing. But ask me that again.
Sure. Now, many times people are looking for, they have a particular goal when it comes to their literary success. To them, it means if I have X amount of books or so many autographs.
Sure.
What does it look like for you?
Yeah, success for me will be to be read. To be read. It's nice to see a royalty check on my desk, yes. But I guess just, that people like what I do. They like it. They love it. They buy it. I don't sell my paintings. I acquire new patrons is the way I look at it. People buy my work. I'm not selling it. But they buy it. And that's a good signal. But most importantly, that I'm included. I'm included in the international art scene, that I show and I exhibit, that I compete, and that I publish in the international publishing world, and that people read the book, just that they read it, and then they, get response. It's such a joy to sign a book. I sign many of them. There are a couple of local bookstores and one in my church, of which I go to Unity. In Palo Alto, Unity is wonderful. They carry my book in the bookstore, Every Sunday I go, someone buys the book practically every Sunday, and I sign books.
Awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That is
So,
awesome.
yeah, seeing that kind of response, that's good. That's what's good for me. And that I just maintain my standard of living. I don't want a mansion. I don't need that Porsche as much as I love those cars. But just that I can maintain this, that I can keep my home together, that my cats are happy and cuddle with me. You know, I got my car in the drive and the insurance is paid, and I can go out Friday night and see my friends. These things are truly, really important to me. I've had large amounts of money come into me at times, income. I did very well as an illustrator. I raised 2 families. We lived in Palo Alto. I had a commercial studio. It was fine. But, you know, I'm on my own now, and I just want to be able to be successful at this level, at my own level, my own fame at my own level. You know, I see what it does for other people. Either it's good or it ruins their lives, and I want it to make my life good. And you're helping me with this interview, Dr. Angela. You're giving me this opportunity to self-express, to talk to people I can't even see. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you
and
are
share my work.
So welcome, and I'm so glad that you gave that answer. Don't allow someone else's idea of success to become your own. Create your own definition of what it means to be successful, and achieve that, and be happy in that, and live your best life. Well, we are out of time, but I have to say I have enjoyed my time with you. Thank you so much, Bridget, for being on the show today.
No, you're so very welcome, Dr. Angela. I've likewise enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Listeners, I hope that you have enjoyed your morning with us here on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela as well. And as always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, be blessed in the Lord. Bye-bye.